Hello and welcome to the official YouTube channel for the No Joshing podcast. I'm Arjun Joshua. Please like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any video that I post. Thanks for all the support. What is going on, everybody? How are we doing today? Hope you guys enjoyed the NFL draft this weekend. I sure did. It was a great draft for a bunch of teams. Really excited for this season. Can't come soon enough. I just want to do a quick reactions of winners and losers of what I thought of the NFL draft. So kind of get my thoughts on that. I also wanted to get my reaction on Fernando Mendoza and his family. What a great story, great kid. I think he's going to be a great player. So let's get started a bit. I think the biggest winner is the Raiders. They improved at the most important position, the quarterback. You cannot improve more than getting that franchise guy, Brady. Spy Tech, Clint Kubiak, which looks exactly like his dad. But what a organizational turnaround that I think that they were in. They were in like the pit in the NFL with the quarterback and pretty much the whole team for I don't know how long, but they've been struggling bad, and I think Fernando Mendoza is a clear number one hit. There's no I would be shocked if that ends up missing. The character, the leader, the personality, like yeah, he's boring, but you don't want the quarterback position to be exciting. You want your quarterback to be boring. You want your quarterback to be his nose in a book. You want the quarterback to be all focused on football. Um, and and there's no off the field. There's no distractions. It's all about football. It's all about getting better. And I love that. So the Raiders is a clear hit. Um, I did think that they should have traded up maybe to get, Omar Cooper. But they didn't. The Raiders ended up didn't didn't draft Omar Cooper. Instead, the Jets did, which solid draft by them. But I think the Raiders are going to be a sneaky improved football team. um, I don't think they're good enough to win the division. Um, Honestly, they might be the worst team in the division, but being the worst team in that division is a pretty good division. So the Raiders is a clear winner. Another big winner, John Harbaugh and the New York Giants. Man, I feel like that they won the draft. I think they're the biggest winners out of the draft. Them and probably the entire NFC East. The entire NFC East just got a whole lot better. Dallas getting Caleb Downs at pick 11, which was, I think, the steal of the draft. Arvo Reese, I'm shocked that he actually went 5. I thought, Arizona should have drafted him. I thought they were going to draft him. But, what can you do? I also do think that the Rams is actually a very big loser tonight for this weekend. I don't agree at all with the quarterback position that they took in Ty Simpson. I thought he was a second round pick. I do, you know, get all my knowledge and say, hey, the if you guys who watch the film tell me otherwise, kudos to you. You're there for a reason. You have more knowledge than I do, but the Ty Simpson thing is just so confusing to me. How on earth do you go from the NFC Championship and a special teams, arguably the special teams, muffed punt away from the Super Bowl, and you take a quarterback? This felt a lot like the 2020 Jordan Love pick that the Packers took when you had prime Aaron Rodgers. This was not good at all. I would have picked Malachi Lemon, let's be honest, I put out there on my mock draft that Malachi Lemon was going to be a Ram. They needed some, off the field question marks with Puka Nakua, but more importantly, the health of Devontae Adams. You're going on, I think, 34 years old, and you're the number one red zone threat in that team. How on earth do you not take a receiver there, especially the best receiver on the board? I don't get it at all. Like, yes, Ty Simpson is a fine player. I'm not gonna say he's bad. I'm honestly not gonna say that he's going to be, the starter. I think he's gonna start eventually. But if we get 2 more years in Matt Stafford, what's the point of getting Ty Simpson? The point of Ty Simpson drafting, especially at 13, is you get him on the rookie contract. You're not paying him anything. Well, if you're not paying the quarterback anything, that means you can help develop the team and add more pieces. Look at Denver. Denver added Jalen Waddle, gave up a first and a third round pick for Waddle to Miami for Miami. Um and they gave it away. They got Waddle. They're developing their team. They have a young quarterback who's not being paid anything. And when you're not being paid anything, you can pay all these great players, get the great offensive lines that Denver has, good solid weapons around them, arguably the best defense in football. They're set up for success. The Rams is set up for success, but you take a quarterback. This is so confusing to me. I 100% disagree with the trade or the pick. And what I do understand is at number 29, where the Rams traded for Trent McDuffie, that pick of 29 is basically picking McDuffie there, which is the best corner in all of this class. That McDuffie's a true unbelievable player. But with that, why a quarterback? I don't get it. It's so confusing to me. Um, I understand that, Matt Stafford's 40, but he just came off the best season of his entire career, arguably. You just won MVP. I don't understand. This is so confusing. Um, but that listen, Les Snead and Sean McVay know more than I do on football and evaluating quarterbacks. So I trust them and the smart organization they are. To develop that quarterback. The team that picked him should not have picked him, but the player that's going to the team, you can't ask. If you're Ty Simpson, you cannot ask for a better situation. You got stability at ownership, stability at head coach and general manager. You're learning under Stafford, so you're not playing. This is a perfect situation if you're Ty Simpson. But if you're Sean McVay and you're, the Rams organization and you're one play away, or I argue one play away from the Super Bowl, then what are we doing? Last year, you traded out with Atlanta. Atlanta gave you a first round pick. Okay, so the Falcons gave you a first round pick. If the Falcons stupidly gave you a first round pick for this year's draft, this is not time for the quarterback. You traded out, and your division rival got Nick Emenwari, the safety from South Carolina, which was a baller in the playoffs, and the Super Bowl. Well, you could have gotten him. Instead, you traded out. Fine, you traded out. You got a first round pick. I 100% agree with trading out. That's fine. You got extra picks. But this was the time where you said, okay, we're going to invest in this team and the future of this team to win right now. This is what the Saints did with Drew Brees. They said, we don't care about the future. Drew Brees is in his prime. We're going to do whatever it takes to win right now. Everything financially, every draft pick in the future, we don't care. We want to win now. And when the future comes, we'll deal with it then. We'll deal with it then. This is how the Rams should operate. That Matthew Stafford's an MVP. Arguably, the best season in his entire career, including with Detroit. This past season, got MVP, coming off of a great year. I get it, he's old, but that's what the third round is for. Like at Pittsburgh, they took a quarterback and Drew Aller in the third round. I don't know what they were doing, but still, that's like you took him in the third round. You could have gotten Drew Aller in the third round, or you could have, reached on Cade Klubnik in the second round. You could have done that. Instead, you take Ty Simpson at 13. Now, the biggest difference with this pick and the Simpson pick, or this pick with Ty Simpson and the Jordan Love pick back in 2020, is Jordan Love was a late 20 pick. He was in the 20s as an overall pick. This is number 13. Okay, you're not going to be drafting at 13 anytime soon. How many trades is people going to do to give you an extra first round pick? This is not the time to draft a quarterback if you're going to be. I don't know how to say this properly, but this is a disaster for the Rams. I thought they were they were a, listen. The future to me does not matter if you're winning right now. If you are on the edge to win right now, it does not matter. I don't believe this was a Sean McVay call. You can I suspect Les Snead and the Rams said, "This is our call. We're building for the future because Matthew Stafford's not going to be here that long." I don't think this was the McVay call. I think McVay maybe wanted, an offensive weapon or someone that wasn't a quarterback. You could have drafted defense. If you draft a defense, you say, hey, we're helping Stafford by making sure that the other team doesn't score points. Getting to the quarterback or, you know, getting a DB and getting interceptions or, forcing fumbles on, a great linebacker. This is a clear disaster from the Rams, in my point of view. You could not do this. I thought they lost it. I thought they lost whatever they did from round 2 to 7 does not matter and does not matter because you drafted the wrong player at 13. It's a clear disaster. I'm sorry, Rams fans, but you should be pissed off. You should be upset. And, every team got better in the division. So I thought the Rams was the biggest loser. Yeah, it's a clear disaster. Another loser, in my opinion, I think the Cardinals. The Cardinals, I'm not a big fan of Carson Beck. I'm not the biggest. I didn't think I'm not thinking he's, the next Luck or something like that. He's not. But you draft Jeremiah Love. I'm fine with Jeremiah Love. I thought he's the second best player in this class, but why do you draft a running back at 3? You need help everywhere else. Your biggest problem isn't running back. Look at what the Raiders did last year with Ashton Genty. They took him at 6 with a terrible offensive line and no quarterback. Well, here you don't have a great offensive line, but you don't have a quarterback either. So what are we doing? I would have traded out. If you wanted to get Ty Simpson, you could have jumped ahead of the Rams, but that's just another story. But why do you take a running back at 3? This is the problem with how teams do not get out of the pit. The pit of the NFL is dumb teams and dumb people running the teams drafting the wrong player, drafting the position rather than the need of whatever. You had Sonny Styles, Arval Reese. You had a bunch of other pieces that you could have done. You should have drafted Arvel. You He's an off the ball linebacker. Now he can become that pass rusher like Micah had to do, but even if he's not, you can put him at linebacker and make him and be an off the ball linebacker like he did at RSA. This is a disaster for Arizona. I don't want to give too much blame because the head coach is an offensive coach. Offensive coaches love getting players on their side of the ball. But what are we doing? What are we doing here? this is the problem with how teams do not become successful, and this is how bad teams stay bad. Okay, this is not good. So Arizona is another loser to me. The third loser, the biggest. I don't know if you could call it a bigger loser than the Rams, but another loser is Miami. Miami now you got Caden Proctor, which I said in my video, last week. I like Caden Proctor. The build, he is great. I think he's going to be great. But then I started reading off the field issues. That and then I heard Saban say off the field issues. And then when I hear Coach Saban say something about a player about off the field issues that he's not, energetic enough. He doesn't. I don't want to say he doesn't care, but the 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 gist of it is he's not excited about football. It's laziness to certain people's point of views. I listen to that. I listen to that. Miami, I think they're going to be one of the worst teams in football. They have no talent at wide receiver. Um, I do like how you address the offensive line first, but then you don't get. You had, some people, players around you. You could have drafted defensive coaches. Loves their defensive players. They're not going to address, helping out their quarterback. You helped him out with left tackle, but how is he going to be in the NFL? And if everyone knows that 50% of first round picks, they bust. 50% busts. So I hope Caden Proctor doesn't bust because I think he's going to be a potential great offensive lineman. But if you're the most likely, I would put my money on busting. Unfortunately, is him. Um, so that and 13 was a reach. You got him at 13. That was a big reach too. I had him in 17 to 20 ish. A lot of people had him to Detroit, including myself. A lot of people think, okay, if he fell, he would fall to Philly at 23. I mean, going from that area of the first round to pick 11 or sorry, 13, that's just I don't know. I don't know what to say about that. That was kind of weird. Um, another loser, I think Pittsburgh. I think Pittsburgh. Like, listen, Pittsburgh, a great atmosphere. They did break the record for fan attendance for an NFL draft. Congratulations for that. Over 800,000 people. But listen, you got an offensive lineman in the first round, which you were drafting Malachi Lemon, and then Philly moved up. So it looked really bad that, oh, well, Philly just stole your player from you. So you had to take the second best option, which honestly, I like the pick. I don't disagree with the pick. The pick should have been that should have been the pick no matter, what. You should have just waited it out, but that's just no, that's just water under the bridge. I do like the second round pick, the wide receiver from Bama. I think he's fine. I'm excited to see him what he can do. But getting Drew Aller in the third round, what are we doing? Like, and Steelers fans, comment down below what your thoughts on this because I want to hear from you guys. But this is not. Listen, I like Will Howard. I like him. I liked him at Ohio State. I thought he was going to be a good player. I liked him being in Pittsburgh because you fall under, the Rodgers point of view. Rodgers comes in, teaches you everything you need to know. But now you get Will Howard, or sorry, now you get Drew Aller, and Drew Aller and Will Howard are now competing for the second spot. So my question is, what were your thoughts on Will Howard? Is he not good enough in practice? What are you not seeing from Will Howard that you're seeing from Drew Aller? Because to me, they're kind of the same player. Now, they both are athletic. I like, Drew Aller's athleticness more than Howard. I like, the arm strength more from, Aller. But Will Howard is a national champion from Ohio State. Now, is it because he was throwing a wide open guys, or is it because he's a good player? Now, to me, I think he's a fine player. I think he's going to be good. But what are we doing on that? I don't understand the pick. I I don't want to say this too much to for this, but I feel like he was a little bit overdrafted. So and Carson Beck I think was overdrafted too. You got him in the third round for the first pick in the no the first pick in the fourth, I believe. Um, it's one of the two. Well, I think he was a I think he was a day three pick maybe for third round maybe. I don't 100% remember. Maybe a third or fourth round pick. But whatever. I mean, but the oh, no, they were both in the third round. I apologize. And then Drew Aller, you had two third round picks. Okay, so the Steelers had two third round picks. You didn't take Aller with the second pick in the third that you had. You picked him in the first pick in the third that you had. So what I'm so confused on how the evaluation was and what is Will Howard not doing that you don't believe in him anymore. Because I thought he was the second quarterback on the roster. I thought he was going to be good. Because all the Steelers fans says I think he's gonna be good. And then the coach, Mike McCarthy, says, we're excited to have him, and I'm excited to, watch to see what he does. So if you're excited to see you watch what he does, then why are you picking a quarterback? Now, I don't understand that. I think now whatever the Steelers does, it's all up to Rodgers now. Because I don't know what the hell they're doing at quarterback. If you're telling me Rodgers comes in, you know, if you're telling me Rodgers comes in May and says, "Hey, I'm coming back," well, okay, you're coming back. You're the quarterback now. But what the hell are you doing now at depth? Who is the second quarterback? Who is second string? So this is a. I'm not saying it's a disaster, but it's a very confusing team, and I think they're on the edge of it being a mess. Now, in my opinion, what you should have done is said, "Hey, if you're not waiting for Rodgers, let's see who the two quarterbacks are between Aller and Howard. Compete. Let's see how they do. And if you're gonna do that, tank." And I'm not a tank. I don't. I like tanking because of who the quarterbacks are in 27. But if you're gonna do that, tank, get Arch Manning in 27, and then you can be up for success. So if that's the plan, amazing. I'm all for it. But what is up with this team? What is and it's all up to Aaron Rodgers. I'm sorry, Steelers fan, but it's all up to Rodgers. This guy is playing you like a fiddle, and I love Aaron Rodgers. I loved watching him in the Packers uniform. I was really hopeful to see what he did with the Jets. I got sucked in and said, "Oh, he's going to make this Jets a playoff team." And then we see what he does. We saw what he did again in Pittsburgh, and I said, "Oh well, he didn't play terribly, but the offense was old school. The offense didn't hum like it was. I thought it was going to, but like I'm shocked on what we're doing. So another loser is Pittsburgh. I'm sorry. It's going to be a rough season because of the quarterback distractions and the quarterback decisions they're doing. Those are the big losers to me. Big winners: New York Football Giants, John Harbaugh. Wow, what a great draft. Getting Arvell at 5, like I mentioned before, great pick. I love that pick. I don't necessarily disagree with 10 getting Francis Maui Noah from Miami. I apologize if I pronounced his name wrong. I don't disagree with the pick because building your offensive line out. I would have gone Caleb Downs. I thought he was the best player on the board based on how it's falling. End up going to Dallas, which great draft by the Dallas Cowboys. I kudos to them. So I love what the Giants did. They also got a tight end, I believe in the third. They got good players. This team is going to be a good team. I'm gonna predict this right now. With this, we're in April, almost. Look, we're at the end of April as I'm recording this. This team will be a fringe playoff team. I don't know if they'll win the division, but they're a playoff team. They're looking like a playoff team. You may need one more draft and maybe one more free agency to win that division, but this team is going to be a good team. This team is going to be good. We're like I believe in Jackson Dart. I believe in John Harbaugh. This team's going to be good. So kudos to John Harbaugh. Great job by the New York Football Giants. Kudos to you. I do think you should have gone Styles over Arvell, but I don't disagree with the pick just because of how the board was falling and Arvell was the best player on the board. I don't think they need another pass rusher, but you can do a lot with Arvell, so I don't disagree with that. Another winner, honestly, Philly does it again. Philadelphia does it again. Now, with the first pick, they got Mekhi Lemon. Once I heard that pick from Goodell, I immediately knew, okay, so here's what we're doing. We're going to be trading AJ Brown. We already have a deal in place on June 1st. I'm assuming it's with New England. That's all the reports that I've read from pretty much everywhere. You could see that. So I think New England will trade for him. So now we'll see. To me, you got I believe Jonathan Grenard from Minnesota. I think it was 2 third-round picks, if I recall. Uh, I like that. You gave him $100 million for 4 years too. I don't disagree with that. You I would have gotten more secondary position, but in the first, but that's fine. We're I'm fine with that. This is not terrible. So Philadelphia does it again. Great job by Howie Roseman and that Philadelphia organization. And also Dallas. Listen, this entire NFC, East division, I think is a winner. You got better at the secondary, which God you needed. You needed secondary. Got the best. I think a top 5 player in this entire class, in Caleb Downs. You got Lawrence, the edge rusher. I'm not too familiar with him, but everyone I've read says that he is a good player and you know, will fit this defense a lot. So good job by Dallas there. Um, so I'm not mad about this. This is a Dallas team that needed defense and they went out defense. They helped their defense a lot. So good job by Jerry Jones and this Dallas front office. Listen, the amount of people, including myself, who crushed Jerry Jones, which he should, he knows how to draft. This guy knows how to draft and knows how to develop players. And then you do that. The signing thing is interesting, but this guy knows how to draft and develop players. So kudos to Jerry Jones. I don't know what you're like right before the draft. I think it was day one that George Pickens didn't I think signed his franchise tag. I thought he was going to be traded on night one. He didn't. Now I do believe now he's going to play on that tag, and I want to see, and I want to see, and I think Dallas wants to see. Can you repeat the numbers? If you can repeat those numbers, I think he should deserve a deal. If he can't compete with the numbers, maybe you can trade him, maybe at the deadline, or try to get out of it before you lock in a deal with him. That's just me. But kudos to Dallas. Good job on that. I'm really am impressed with Dallas. Washington's another one that I really like their draft. Getting Sonny Styles, another top 5 player on my draft board, and you got him at 7. Very good on that. I think he should have gone to Tennessee. Now I'm not mad or Colonel Tate, but I thought he should have went to Tennessee. That could have been, you know, their Fred Warner. So we know that. I mean, I'm not mad about it. Brian Dable, I think he, pushed his hand a little bit and said, "Hey, listen, we need something to give our quarterback." And Dable's offensive coordinator, so I think we need that type of, player to go with Cam Ward. So I'm not terrible at that. So that wasn't terrible. Solid did a good job on this draft. I would have taken Styles there. That's just my own opinion because he would have been their Fred Warner. It would have improved their defense a lot. They got Folk, I believe, at pick 31 or 32. No, 31. I apologize. Yeah, 31, I believe. Um, so that's fine. I'm not mad. It's just a preference thing at that point. Which one do you preference more? Do you preference on getting someone to help the quarterback or defense? So that's a whatever pick. But Washington did a good job. I liked what they did. So the entire NFC East, I think, is a big winner. Um, this weekend, they're all going to be. Listen, that te- that that's going to be the best division in football. Now, we can argue, oh, the Rams division, the NFC West is the best division in football. They have the champion Seattle Seahawks. They have, a well-run organization in the Niners, which I thought they didn't do as well of a job as I thought they were going to. Um, they also have the Rams. They have Arizona. I think that division is not the best division in football anymore. I do think the NFC East is because of how close they are in between each other of winning that division. Any team in that division, I can see winning the division. I don't see San Francisco, and I do not see Arizona winning the division. So I can't say those two or that division is the best. Now with Dallas, they can win the division. They've done it before with Dak Prescott. Washington has, I believe, they didn't win the division, but they went to an NFC championship. Um, the Giants, they've been to the playoffs with Daniel Jones. If they can go to the playoffs with Daniel Jones, can they go to the playoffs with Jackson Dart and a better coach and John Harbaugh? I think so. Um, and Philadelphia won the Super Bowl 2 years ago, so I think they're all going to beat up in each other, and only one team is getting out of that division. So that's my biggest takeaway. Only one team is getting out of the East because of the beating up on each other. That's my biggest takeaway. It's a really great draft. Um, we'll see what happens with training camp and with rookie mini camp and OTAs. I'm going to be very excited to see on if two things. If Carson Beck beats out and wins the quarterback job, and what the hell the Steelers are doing with their quarterback position. It's all a fancy game, and the more headlines you get at the quarterback position, the better publicity you get, or not better publicity, but more publicity in general. So that's my biggest takeaways. Hope you guys enjoyed the NFL draft. Tune in next time for another video. This is just a quick reaction. It's gonna be a fun season. The season cannot come soon enough. It's only April, and I'm already ready for football. So, thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and we'll see y'all next time. Thanks, everybody.